Santander and La Liga Smart Bank. It's not football, it's La Liga.
Sociedad are battling for 4th place. They are currently 6 points behind Sevilla, so with an opportunity to close that gap, and in good form at the moment. La Real, 6 games unbeaten in the league, and they're hosting a Levante team who are in 10th place at the moment but can jump 2 positions with a win here, and they are certainly in the hunt for a top 6 finish as well. There's 7 points behind Real Betis at the moment, so a strong run of form from a talented Levante side could see them pushing for a European place for next season too. 2 very enjoyable teams to watch as well, both attack-minded and open football with lots of talented players, so it should be a good game at the Reale Arena. Levante in particular will be looking to bounce back from a devastating night in the Copa del Rey. In midweek, they were knocked out of the semi-final stage by Athletic Club after extra time. A really tough setback for Levante to take. So they need the morale boost of a quick return to positive result in La Liga. I'm joined by Andrea Orlandi for this one. And Andrea, as I was saying, 2 teams with a lot to play for and 2 very enjoyable teams to watch as well. We should have an entertaining game today.
Yeah, absolutely, Andy. Hi, everyone. 2 of my favorites, I would say, both Real Sociedad and Levante. They're very exciting to watch. Real Sociedad plays slightly different. They would like to build up play from the back, play through combinations with a 4-3-3, find David Silva in the pockets. Levante at times can be more direct, but they've got enough quality in that starting lineup to actually impose themselves with the ball, make it difficult for Real Sociedad tonight and get a good result. But as you explained, it's probably the hardest game of the season for them. It's been obviously a huge disappointment not qualifying for the Copa del Rey final, and they had an historic opportunity to do so, and obviously overall Athletic Bilbao deservedly got through the final for Levante. I'm sure that emotionally these players are empty, so it's a huge task for them to go out today and try to challenge this Real Sociedad.
And they're challenging a Real Sociedad team coming into the game with confidence. Their last outing was a good performance and a deserved draw, a 1-1 at Real Madrid on Monday night, and just talent dripping through this young Real Sociedad team, which we will see now features 3 changes from the side that started in Madrid on Monday night. Ian Munoz comes into the side at left back, replacing Nacho Monreal. There's a return for Mikel Merino, maybe the best midfielder in La Liga this season, certainly one of the best after suspension. And on the right wing, Adnan Januzaj gets only his 7th start of the season in place of Portu, who drops down to the bench. There's also a return to the squad for Asier Iyaramendi after injury. He is on the bench. As we see the officials for today's game, led by Sotogrado on the field and David Media Jimenez in the VAR booth if needed, as we take a look at the Levante side. And no surprise that after that physically and mentally grueling cup game in midweek, there is plenty of rotation from Paco Lopez. 7 changes, Dani Cardenas included in the side in goal. Both fullbacks are new, Tonio and Koke, and Son and Nikola Vukcevic come into midfield, and up front Dani Gomez will start with Enis Bardi. We'll see. It could be Morales playing up front with Bardi in midfield. They have the versatility, both of those players, to switch positions. Andrea, you talked about Levante, you say the hardest game of the season for them. From a player's perspective, when you have such a an emotionally difficult loss like that one that Levante suffered a couple of days ago. How do you view your next game? Do you just want to get out there and play again, or is it really difficult to lift yourself?
Well, it's actually very difficult. You feel empty because you've actually given everything to qualify for that final. You couldn't reach and fulfill that dream, and obviously the next one is the most difficult one. And it's about how they start the game. If they start the game well and they can get on the mood, it could be a good game for Levante. If they let Real Sociedad impose themselves and have the ball, it could be a very long 90 minutes for them.
Very quickly we see Morales is playing up front alongside Dani Gomez in the 4-4-2, and that leaves Bardi in midfield, and they've got...
Well, it actually looks like a 5-3-2 with Koke playing as a third centre-back, Duarte and Bezo, Son as the right wing-back and Toño as the left wing-back.
And quickly a corner is won by Real Sociedad. Yes, good spot there, Andrea. 5 at the back. And so...
it would have been surprising, to be honest, to see a 4-4-2, given the fact that if Real Sociedad overload that midfield with the quality they've got, it could be an absolute disaster for you. So it's actually they're matching Real Sociedad in midfield with those three.
There's an overload in the 6-yard box here. Look at that crowd of bodies inside the area close to goal as it's fired into the side netting by Mikel Merino. And I wonder, it was Januzaj, in fact, excuse me, with the delivery into the near post, looking for the glancing touch. But he's going to have to get past backup Levante goalkeeper Dani Cardenas, Andrea, who we last saw in action at Atletico Madrid, where he was spectacular to help his team get a victory.
Well, it was absolutely excellent, and Paco Lopez said after the game that they had 2 super goalkeepers, and he's absolutely right, because Aitor Fernandez, his stats last season were impressive, and this year has been good as well. And with Cardenas, it's been a bit of a surprise, but these performances have proven Paco Lopez right, so he's got 2 great goalkeepers.
Real Sociedad getting a psychological boost yesterday by seeing Sevilla suffering defeat at Elche, and they are now with the opportunity to move just 3 points behind Sevilla in that race for 4th place. And they're certainly in the race, aren't they, Andrea, still, Real Sociedad?
Yeah, they are.
They've recovered from a really slow run of form.
Yeah, absolutely. They had a long streak of winless games where at times they lost their identity as well. But they had a dip in form last season as well, but they had it at a crucial time. This year, midway through the season, they were still in European places. They never left these places since match day 5. And obviously now they've got players back, they got Silva back, and obviously they need to keep him fit desperately. They got Oyarzabal as well, who had been out for a while and they missed him early. So now everyone looks back fit, and they look like the team they're supposed to be. A team that nominates games, creates chances, and fights for Champions League places, because they've got quality enough to do so.
Play allowed to continue as Zubimendi was fouled, but Merino then giving the ball away. A remarkable thing about this Real Sociedad team is their youth, as the ball falls to the French defender Robin Lenormand, and then to Merino. They have David Silva, their oldest player, at the age of 35, and he really is the daddy of the group. The next oldest is 26 in this starting lineup, Adnan Januzaj, who has possession here. Teases in the cross that Isaac meets, and he has a good aerial presence but can't keep that one down over the top. But that youth that they have, Andrea, with 26 and younger, every single player apart from David Silva, really bodes well for their future. And what a great job that man is doing, Imanol Alguacil, in blending this talented group of players together.
Yeah, absolutely, and he knows how to actually treat youngsters, as he's been an academy coach for years, and he knows how to get the best out of them. But it's about what you said, gelling the experienced players with the young ones, and as you know, in a group, to make it work, you gotta have veterans, but positive ones. Otherwise, it makes it very difficult for the young ones to come through. And I know for a fact that David Silva, if you think about Iyarramendi, Monreal, these are positive people to have around, and obviously they have a great positive impact on the youngsters coming through. And you see it by the performances they give into Real Sociedad. It doesn't really matter, and Imanol Alguacil is not afraid of going out against Real Madrid and play Zubimendi and Guevara in midfield, who are really, really young, to have Urco González de Zárate on the bench. And probably had to play him, he would have played him against an experienced midfield like Casemiro, Modric and Kroos. So he's been doing it week in, week out. He's giving youngsters the chance to prove how good they are. And obviously, if you look at the academy, and I think about young players thinking about their futures at Real Sociedad, there is a future at the club, because you know, both Imanol Alguacil and the club are giving chances to the youngsters.
Yeah, 14 members of the first team squad came through the academy, supplemented by talented imports. And it's really exciting times for Real Sociedad, but they're on the back foot here as Morales runs through, takes on the shot, which takes an unusual deflection high in the air, falls to Son, and now Rochina wanted to work the ball onto his left foot, but had it taken away from him. And now David Silva, twinkling toes forward, beating a couple of challenges, and then was pulled back to win the free kick. It's an interesting point you made, Andrea, a couple of minutes ago, talking about having a young squad supplemented by positive older players, because I guess it can sometimes happen that you get veterans who are just sort of playing out time and waiting for the end of the career, collecting a few paychecks and not really interested in guiding through youngsters. Does that happen sometimes? Yeah, well, it's happened to me, and it's happened to everyone as well. When you actually start knocking on the door of the first team, and there's a veteran playing in your position, and he's not very adamant of helping you out and giving you good advices or trying to help you developing as a player, because you're actually threatening. You're a threat to his position. I don't see this at Real Sociedad, and obviously nowadays it's a bit different. And in my days it was a little bit more difficult to get into the first team dressing room. What do you mean in your day? You've only stopped playing about a year ago.
When I started, I mean, it was a long time ago, Andy, unfortunately.
When you were young.
Exactly.
You're still pretty young. So Real Sociedad, as one would expect, with the majority of the possession in these opening stages. Le Normand for Isaac, who manages to hold on to possession under pressure from Badi. Back to Silva. Can he unlock the defence? He looks to loft it through for Isaac. Not very well dealt with by Levante. And now it's Merino. Gorosabal opens it up for Januzaj. Want to get it back onto his left foot. The clever pass to David Silva. Silva with the shot, well blocked. Comes out for the strike by Merino against the post. And eventually Levante are going to be able to clear their lines, but they're living dangerously, and it's been a really focused and purposeful start from Real Sociedad.
Yeah, absolutely. You can defend with 5, 6 or 7, but you got intelligent and good players like Januzaj and Silva. It's impossible to stop them. Januzaj has got 2 players in front of him. He still sees Silva find space in the box. The ball gets cleared, and Mikel Merino with his weakest foot hits the post. Very good chance for Real Sociedad.
Here we see that 5-3-2 shape that Andrea talked about. The back 3 central defenders with wing backs for Levante, but they're nearly unlocked again there as Oyarzábal tried to thread it through for Mikel Merino. Was I overhyping him when I said just before the game maybe the best midfielder in La Liga this season? We'll just come back to that after this cross comes in from Ian Munoz. Reaches Silva at the far post. It is all Real Sociedad as Oyarzábal finds Munoz. Another cross from him, and another one that's a little too deep but is retrieved by Gorosabal. David Silva onto Januzaj, out for the throw-in. Merino, is he that good?
Certainly one of the best, Andy. Probably to say it's the best, it's a big statement. You got
among the best.
Amongst the best, yeah. But obviously you got some of the best midfielders in the world here in La Liga, and Merino is one of the best. I think he can do everything and does everything well. In terms of his passing accuracy is great. His runs, the way he times his runs into the boxes, makes him, a modern type of midfielder. A box-to-box one. and then in terms of recoveries, he's up there with the best, with the Casemiros, the Fernandos, and he doesn't look like it because he looks so tidy on the ball that you wouldn't expect him to be that good in terms of recovering the ball. When he has to put a tackle in, he does. So he's obviously a complete modern midfielder.
That's the word, yeah. When you were talking there, I was thinking I'll change it from maybe the best to the most complete, and you used that word. And
absolutely.
Here he is again now, taking on another shot that is half spilled by Cardenas, falls to Oyarzabal. Cross played in and converted, and there he is, showing his complete play, running onto the cross from Oyarzabal. That goal was coming. Real Sociedad have been all over Levante, and inside 10 minutes they have the lead now.
Yeah, I was talking about timing the runs into the box. It's very difficult to defend a midfielder running into the box at the right time. The cross is great, but obviously the way that Merino appeared in the box, he wasn't there. He just ran into the space, made him obviously impossible to stop him. As we see here, Real Sociedad recovering the ball. He has a shot on target. Ball gets clear from Cardenas and Oyarzabal. Look at Merino. He sees the space. He knows when he has to run. He does there. Vukcevic, it's too late for him to react. 1-0 Real Sociedad.
And it was a goal that had been coming. Real Sociedad making a really flying start to this game. And it was the timing of the run and the timing of the cross cut back to perfection by Oyarzabal. Merino getting his second goal of the season, his first since October, so he did need that just to add to his all-round stats. And for Oyarzabal, a 6th assist of the season. They really are blessed with so much attacking talent. Porto on the bench today, young players as well, like Barrenechea, Carlos Fernandez. They signed as the backup really to Alex Isak, and his men, Paco Lopez, need to respond now because they're not really even competing at the moment, Real Sociedad, in this game.
Well, we said before the game that for Levante it was going to be a difficult one, and it was all about how they started the game. Well, they haven't started that well, conceding 3 or 4 chances from the home side, and now trailing by 1-0. Obviously this is going to give confidence to Real. They're going to try to press high, and obviously by pressing high there will be spaces to be exploited by the players you were talking about, the Oyarzabals, the Isaks, Silvas, Merino. So obviously what they need to do is they need to calm things down, try to stop Real Sociedad from playing, otherwise it's going to be a long evening for them.
And the difficulty, as you explained, you can see exactly why they wanted to go with 5 at the back, but the difficulty is that they lose a man from midfield, so it's going to be harder for them to retain possession, isn't it?
Yeah, and harder for them to press as well, because the front two need to cover lots of space in terms of Dani Gomez and Morales up against four defenders in Real Sociedad midfielders make it very difficult. Sorry, Rochina and Bardi, when they have to jump and press, they need to do it at the right time. Otherwise, if they don't get the distances right, the 3 midfielders of Real Sociedad can cause you lots of problems. And obviously at the back, both Son and Toño, they have a difficult task up against Añel Muñoz and Oyarzabal on one side, and Gorosabel and Janus Zaid on the other one. So at the moment, I can't see them pressing well, even though they're trying. I can't see them stopping this Real Sociedad side, but with Levante you never know.
Yeah, they're certainly capable of turning on the style, as they showed recently by beating Atletico Madrid. They actually played them twice in a week, got a draw, and then in a rearranged game they won in Madrid. They've also beaten Real Madrid this season. They're a very strong all-round team, but they haven't really shown it yet. It's been a bit of a hungover start from Levante, understandably so, after the really disappointing, disappointing isn't the word, it would have been historic for them to reach the cup final. And there was an interview so emotional after the game with Jose Luis Morales, who's their captain and their icon as well, and he was in tears after the game, and you could almost see he was thinking, that was my chance to play in a cup final, and at his age, 33, maybe he'll never have another chance.
Yeah, definitely. That's why we were saying that this game is so difficult for them, and because emotionally they're going to pay the price of not qualifying for the final. But obviously Paco Lopez was talking about maturity in his side, and he thinks that this team is immature enough to bounce back from it, and obviously now they've got the opportunity to show it. The problem is, well, you don't have anything to play for in La Liga, because I would say Levante is safe and quite far from European places. obviously to be playing in no man's land makes it very difficult for players. When you've got nothing to play for, when you can't find any motivation, having missed a cup final, it's a big blow.
But saying that, if they win this game, they will only be 2 points behind 7th place. So it's not as though they're, as Januzaj takes on the shots, the attacks continue to come. And yes, they're of course mid-table. I agree, they're well clear of relegation, but I suppose they have to make themselves believe that they've still got maybe a European place to play for.
And I'm sure the team talk before the game was about it. Come on, guys, we still got a chance if we win today to make it into Europe. And but they haven't started really well, Andy.
Yeah, I suppose it's hard to actually believe it. It's easy to say it, but it's much harder to believe it. As we see again, the well-constructed goal for Mikel Merino. Real Sociedad certainly with a huge amount to play for. They have got a cup final coming up. Last season still will be played around a month from now against the perennial cup finalists, Athletic Club. And they have very much to look forward to in La Liga as well, with the opportunity to breathe down Sevilla's necks, only 3 points behind them if they win this one for 4th place. They'll have a role in the title race as well. Their next home opponents, Real Sociedad, a fortnight from now, are Barcelona. And then 3 match days from the end of the season, on the 12th of May, they play Atletico. Levante looking to mount a serious attack for the first time. Dani Gomez with the cross, scooped away by Lenormand.
And there is a title race, Andy, which is astonishing if you think about it.
There really is now. After the events in Madrid of this afternoon, massive game for Atletico in midweek as well. That might have escaped people's attention. But they have their catch-up game. Morales sends the cross in and it's flicked goalwards cleverly by Son to trouble Alex Remero for the first time. A comfortable save, but more attacking intent from Levante, who perhaps now can work their way eventually into the game. But just to mention, again, just to finish that point, Atletico have their game in hand on Wednesday, so make sure you join us for that one. 7 p.m. kick-off Spanish time. Atletico hosting Athletic Club, so far from easy for them.
Absolutely. Athletic are flying. I mean, with Marcelino, you've got players on top of the game. They see what they do tonight against Granada. It's a difficult game for them. But obviously, against Levante, I have to say they deserve to qualify, because they had plenty of chances. They reacted when they went down 1-0, and they look solid, they look strong, and they look like they believe they were gonna turn things around and qualify for the final. So it's remarkable what Marcelino's done with a team that at times with Garitano looked uncertain. Some players weren't playing at their best, and now they are. Raúl García, Muniain, and Iñaki Williams, for example.
Here's a run down the left-hand side for Dani Gomez. Back into midfield, and Morales will turn. The cross is blocked by Igor Zubeldia. But Levante have found their feet in this game now after really being blitzed in the first 10 minutes. They weren't even in the game, but they're starting to look a bit more composed. They're getting on the ball more, as we see now with Rochina. Well, he gives it away carelessly, but they are looking like they're ready to compete on level footing with Real Sociedad and starting to threaten the penalty area of the home side as well.
Well, they have reacted. A couple of good runs from Morales that crossed into Son now. Another run into the box, trying to find, the good players they have in midfield like Bardi and Rochina. And obviously this is what they have to do, try to calm things down and stop Real Sociedad from playing with having the ball. This is what they need to find, the ball. Otherwise, if you can compete with Real Sociedad, in possession, you got a chance. Otherwise, it's nearly impossible.
Isak able to control from the throw-in, despite the attention of Ruben Vezzo. Out for the throw-in. working their way out of a tight spot to get it back to Lenormand. Now Gorosabal. Starting to see a bit more intensity in Levante's pressing as well. Real Sociedad not able to find their way forward so easily as they were in the earlier stages.
There's much more intent, you see, and intensity and aggression in that pressure. Actually matching Real Sociedad man-to-man in midfield as well, with Toño and Son very positive and committed forward. And Remiro in the last 5 minutes has been forced to kick it long.
It's almost as though conceding that goal made Levante think, right, okay, we have got a game here, let's wake up. As pressure is applied on Cardenas, who is slightly fortunate to see it deflect out for the throw-in. Well won by Merino into Oyarzabal, who goes down and he's fouled for the penalty. And it was Koke from behind, a clumsy challenge, and really it was poor defensively all round from Levante, giving the ball away from their own throw-in. And then as Oyarzabal ran goalwards after receiving the ball from Merino, Koke bringing him down, and that's clumsy.
Well, talking about bad throw-ins, I remember Jordi Alba throwing for Barcelona away at Cádiz was one of the worst I've seen this season, but this probably is up there with Jordi Alba's, because when you are under pressure to play the ball inside, you know, with Rochina not even being close, is a bad thing. Merino with another recovery plays into Oyarzabal, and the challenge from Koke is a clumsy one. Actually, rushing the challenge, trying to get back into position. And this man has got a pretty good
very good
from the penalty spot, 18 from 19. I think he missed in the Super Cup against Barca.
He also missed in the Europa League against Manchester United. So he has missed a couple recently, but he's perfect in La Liga. 6 out of 6 this season. He'll have a little hop, skip and jump up against Dani Cardenas. Oh, and he's put it well wide. That's a terrible penalty from Oyarzabal, who now with 3 misses in fairly quick succession in 3 different competitions.
Wow, this is a bad one.
That's a bad one, and he's losing his status as one of the best penalty takers around.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember in the Super Cup final against Barcelona thinking he's never going to miss, and Ter Stegen saved it. And after that, you know, you see players going into a bad